Female lead, no CP, strong and refreshing. Jiuli accidentally bound a system novice and launched a cannon fodder counterattack mission. What kind of heavenly way with improper values and male and female leaders, all beaten up. Xiao Bai. Big shots are really amazing. Big shot takes me flying. Keywords of the novel. The big shot of fast wearing is a mystery without pop-ups. The big shot of fast wearing is a mystery. Download the complete set of TXT, and The Big Shot of Fast Wearing is a mystery. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Erasure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Erasure. The forest. Jiuli rubbed his painful head with his arm. Hiss. My head hurts so much. Host, you're awake. A mechanical sound suddenly appeared in Jiuli's head. Suddenly awakened. What kind of person? Host. My name is Xiao Bai and I am a system that can take you through various planes. System. Crossing the plane. Jiuli asked in confusion. Yes, my host. I will pass you on to the wish makers on various levels. As long as you help them fulfill their wishes, you will earn points. Once the host has points, they can exchange them for various things, and even cultivate immortals in the future. This will help you reach the peak of life and achieve a very long lifespan. Xiao Bai's heart was filled with joy as he explained that he had never bound a host before and had just graduated from the system graduation class to start his official mission of saving cannon fodder. Moreover, when he talked about cultivating immortality and reaching the pinnacle of life, he felt extremely proud in his heart. In his opinion, such benefits must be particularly tempting for ordinary people like Jiuli. Oh. Fulfilling your wish. Cultivating immortality. Jiuli's lips curved into a faint smile as she just detected that this so-called transit system could not harm her. I started to question the system with some curiosity. Xiao Bai couldn't see the teasing in Jiuli's eyes. I thought Jiuli was interested, so I asked him. Answer from the novice. Yes, that's right. As long as the host completes the task obediently, you can obtain these. What if I say I'm not interested? Jiuli replied somewhat amused. Xiao Bai was waiting for Jiuli to quickly please him, but he never expected Jiuli to give such an answer. Suddenly, Xiao Bai's brain crashed. After a moment of hesitation, he said coldly, the binding cannot be undone. If the host does not complete the task properly, it will be erased by the system. Upon hearing Xiao Bai's tone suddenly turn cold, Jiuli became even more interested. Erase. Alright, then you kill. Jiuli lay on the stone with his hands resting on his head, answering in an indifferent tone. Little Bai didn't expect that Jiuli really didn't care about being erased and didn't want to live at all, and his heart couldn't help but feel regretful. How can it be different from what other machines say? The hosts of other machines are eager to please them with all their might. Why is his host different? Are those machines all scammers? Turns out they're all scammers. Xiao Bai hesitated for a moment and said. Are you sure, host? Well, sure. Jiuli held a piece of grass in his mouth. Answer without hesitation for a second. Little white in the system space, click on the screen and scroll to the last page. There are a few big red characters. Whether to erase the host. Xiao Bai clicked OK. Then wait for the system to unbind. 10 seconds 30 seconds 1 minute the system is unresponsive. Xiao Bai clicked again, but there was still no response. Xiao Bai couldn't figure out why by scratching his head. Thinking it was a system issue, he thought to himself that next time he goes back, he must have the main system show him if there is a bug. Xiao Bai looked at Jiuli and couldn't erase her, so she coughed awkwardly twice. Host, why can't I bear to think about the beauty of this world? For the sake of your future, I have decided not to erase you. Jiuli pursed a smile and burst out loud. She knew it was because Xiao Bai had not succeeded in erasing him, so she explained that it was for her good. Just now, she did feel a strange external force full of killing intent towards her. She waved her hand and directly eliminated that force, but Xiao Bai knew nothing about it, otherwise she would definitely be scared to death. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 System. Jiuli looked at the white light cluster in the system space and felt a bit magical. This system can also generate awkward emotions, which is interesting. Anyway, she's bored, so it's better to go play. However, Jiuli was still curious about how this system would bind her, so he spoke out. Okay, but how did you bind me? Upon hearing that Jiuli no longer refused the task, Xiao Bai breathed a sigh of relief and answered. Host, I met you in the turbulent flow of time and space. You are unconscious, and you are the first person I met, so I bound you and brought you out. You still have to thank me for saving you. In the turbulent flow of time and space, there could never be a living person, and at that time, Xiao Bai only thought that there might be something special about Jiuli and did not die immediately. Thanks to his Jiuli, he was able to leave the chaos of time and space. Upon hearing Xiao Bai's words, Jiuli's mouth twitched slightly. She knew why she had a headache and a pain all over her body. Yesterday. She drank too much again. Whenever she drank too much, she liked to go to other places. Do you remember the last time she drank too much and wore it outside of an orc? When she woke up, a group of animals begged her for a mate. But before, she had opened the protective cover so she wasn't injured. This time, she forgot to open the protective cover while drinking, no wonder she was injured. Headache is definitely also influenced by the turbulence of time and space. She checked her body. Suffered significant injuries. My cultivation level has decreased significantly. Want to restore? It may take some time. But there happens to be this system in place. It's possible to heal while playing. No wonder Xiao Bai took advantage of the situation and bound her. Where is this? Jiuli looked around at the unfamiliar environment. Questioning the system with doubts. Host. I don't know either. Little Bai didn't know where this was, all he knew was that when he bound the host, he originally wanted to bring her into the system space, but couldn't bring her in, and inexplicably came here. Jiuli closed his eyes and scanned this place with his divine sense. This place is still where she sleeps, but it's been too long since she came out and the changes were too significant to recognize. After not hearing Jiuli's answer for a long time, Xiao Bai silently asked, the host. Are we doing the task now? Upon hearing Xiao Bai's words, Jiuli also came to her senses, although she could cross various planes at any time. But because her luck is too strong, she can suppress those planes, so it's not very good either. Having this system now is quite convenient. What are the tasks? Upon hearing Jiuli's words, the novice replied, Host, my department is the cannon fodder rescue system of the Quick Pass Bureau, which means you will travel to various planes. Those innocent cannon fodder can help them change their fate and save their lives. After hearing the explanation, Jiuli nodded interestingly. He used to go out to play, but this time doing the task, he felt a bit excited and had a great time. But Jiuli didn't show any expression. Well, okay. So my body. Jiuli thought to herself, wondering how the system would handle her body since she wanted to go inside someone else's body. Don't worry, host. During your mission, your body will be in the system space. Xiao Bai replied impatiently and roast in his heart. Why does this host talk so much? Just when Xiao Bai was roast, Jiuli suddenly appeared in front of her, which scared Xiao Bai. You, how could you be here? Xiao Bai widened his eyes. This host is so evil. How could she enter the system space without his consent? It seems that he quickly contacted the main system to fix the bug for him. Little Bai never expected that it was because Jiuli was too powerful, but rather because the system was malfunctioning. Although Jiuli was injured, it is not difficult to enter this system space. Without answering Xiao Bai's question, Jiuli surveyed the system space. The space is not large. About 100 square meters, there is a sofa. Jiuli sat on the sofa and said to Xiao Bai, "Let's start doing the task." End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Miss Dominance 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Miss Dominance 1 Because I was startled by Jiuli. When Xiao Bai heard about the task, he didn't even remember to ask brush questions and answered in a daze. A good host. Didi is currently in transit. Jiuli opened his eyes and felt so cold and hungry on his body, surrounded by trees and facing a river. It's evening again. The cold wind blew in waves. She was clearly about to jump into the river at this moment. Jiuli took a few steps back and sat on the large stone next to him. Jiuli said to the system space, "What is the current situation? Host, do you accept the plot?" Xiao Bai's mechanical voice said to Jiuli. Jiuli nodded. Then the plot of this world came to mind. This is a modern plane, the female lead Qin. She is the younger sister of the original owner Qin Jiuli, the second miss of the Qin family in S City. The Qin family is a wealthy family in S City, and Miss Qin heir. That is Su Qin, at the age of 16. I was just taken back to the Su family. Chen Cheng, also known as the father of the original owner, married the mother of the original owner more than a decade ago. Later, the mother of the original owner became very weak due to falling ill after giving birth to the original owner. Then, when the original owner was 6 years old, her mother accidentally ingested peanut butter, which weakened her body and resulted in her death. And 10 years later, Chen Cheng brought back Qin Qing's mother and daughter, and Qin Qing suddenly transformed from a commoner girl to a wealthy lady. Chen Cheng was also very kind to Qin Qing because he owed her more than 10 years. Qin Qing is also very competitive, with good academic performance and beautiful appearance. Gentle and generous, very likable. Later on, Qin Qing was discovered by a talent scout in high school and entered the entertainment industry because he was beautiful enough and had good acting skills. I met a big investor in the entertainment industry. Also a business tycoon in China, Mu Yan. Because during a youth-killing banquet, it happened that the drama was invested by Mu Yan, and that day I had free time to attend the banquet. Seeing the female protagonist Qin Qing's words rejecting the unspoken rules of one of the investors. So I became interested in Qin Qing. In fact, when he was investing in high school before, he accidentally met the female lead and thought she was gentle and generous. That's why he became interested in the female lead because of this anniversary celebration. After a long time, the two of them received electricity and became together. The female lead also won the Best Actress award through that drama. From then on, he achieved fame and withdrew from the entertainment industry. Being a devoted Mrs. Mu, living a life that everyone envies. The male lead who can marry the person who is known as the most desired person for women. Afterwards, she was also known as the most successful woman. After the age of 16, Qin Qing's life was like a cheat. Passing smoothly with the wind and water is very nourishing. Of course, although the male protagonist has nothing to do with the original protagonist, he is not a good person either. The original protagonist and the others are from the same school, but the male protagonist is 2 years older than them. Previously, because a common girl liked the male lead showed great hostility towards her and instigated his followers to bully the girl. Later on, the girl couldn't bear the consequences of herself. The girl's grandmother went to school to find an explanation. The statement was not received, but it was resolved by the male lead's caller and the original owner, also known as Qin Jiuli. On the contrary, since Qin Qing was taken home, he has been very unlucky. When the female lead was taken back to the Qin family, Qin Jiuli was very devastated. Because she is only 1 month younger than the female lead, which means When her mother was pregnant with her, Chen Qingdong cheated on the mother of the female lead. Although Jiuli has very little impression of his mother, because her mother was a famous talented woman from the Jiang family at that time, even after her death. Many people will also marvel at her mother's talent. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Miss Dominance 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Miss Dominance 2. The Chen family was not originally a wealthy family, but it was supported by the Jiang family. The grandfather and grandmother of the original owner doted on him, but they held a grudge against Chen Cheng, so it was also because of this. I rarely come to visit the original owner. Afterwards, the original owner's life was not good, and they didn't know either. And the original owner knew that Chen Cheng had a female lead only after his infidelity, coupled with the fact that the original owner was already a wealthy young lady. Some young ladies had normal temperaments and were very unhappy with the arrival of the female lead, so they often got angry. This is compared to the obedient and sensible female lead. The original protagonist made Chen Cheng feel annoyed, and with the interference of the female protagonist and her mother, it later led to Chen Cheng directly not liking the original protagonist. Chen Cheng is often away from home, and the original owner can be described as living in dire straits at home. The original owner usually lives on campus, but on weekends when he comes home, he is bullied by the female owner's mother. Gradually, the young lady's temper is worn away, and she becomes very cowardly, unable to show her appearance at all. The original owner didn't want to go back this weekend to see the face of the female protagonist, so he took a walk alone by the seaside until evening before returning. However, the female protagonist went to Chen Cheng's place and said that the original owner didn't learn well interacting with people who are neither good nor bad outside. And the female protagonist also took out intimate photos of the original protagonist at school and between different men. In fact, so-called intimate photos are some photos of holding hands, and these photos are all taken out of place. The original owner was timid in school and had no friends at all. How could someone hold hands with her? But Chen Cheng wouldn't even think about the reason behind it. I directly believed what the female lead mother said. So in a fit of anger, Chen Chengshi said he didn't care about the original owner anymore. The female protagonist's mother, Huang Ling, said in Chen Cheng's ear, for the good of the original protagonist, send her to the countryside for self-cultivation. Chen Cheng was deeply moved by the thoughtfulness of the female protagonist's mother Huang Ling, and felt that it was his blessing that a stepmother could do so well. But the original owner is still at a loss. So Chen Cheng agreed to Huang Ling's proposal. That's it. Huang Ling sent the original owner to a family in the countryside. This family was carefully selected by Huang Ling, and they are a widow with a daughter. Two people are notorious for their malice. A shrew. Huang Ling gave these two mother and daughter a sum of money to torture the original owner well. So after the original owner arrived, he was either beaten or scolded by Lu Dan and Lu Xiao. I do household chores every day, do heavy work in the fields, feed chickens and pigs, and sleep in the wooden house next to the pigsty. I also have to cook every day. However, the young lady doesn't know how to cook, so she often gets beaten up by the Lu family's mother and daughter. On that day, the original owner was called up by Lu Xiao to cut firewood on the mountain. The original owner hesitated for a long time alone by the river, and finally used her elderly phone to call Chen Cheng. Hello, Dad. Do you believe me? The original owner said to Chen Cheng on his phone with a crying voice. Chen Cheng frowned and answered with a displeased expression on his face. What kind of demon are you going to be again? Upon hearing Chen Cheng's words, the last line of defense in the original owner's heart was shattered, and he hung up the phone without saying a word. So he resolutely jumped into the river and committed suicide. After the original owner's death, the female lead mother was very happy, and Huang Ling made a very sad expression and said to Chen Cheng, "It's all my fault. If it weren't for me asking Xiaoli to go to the countryside to relax, Xiaoli wouldn't have run to the river in anger, nor would she have fallen behind." The female lead also cried and said, "Sorry, Dad. If only I had advised my sister at school. She wouldn't have done those things either." Although Chen Cheng was still a bit sad, he comforted her with a soft voice as he looked at the appearance of the female lead mother with a rainy pear blossom. "I don't blame you, Sai, it can only be blamed on Xiao Li's own choice, fate should be like this." The soul body Chen Jiuli, who was originally following their family, collapsed instantly upon hearing these words. It turned out that she had died. Can't his father believe her either? So the strong resentment was detected by the system department, and it was only then that Jiuli received this task. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Miss Dominance 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Miss Dominance 3 Damn it. After accepting the plot, Jiuli couldn't help but curse at this strange family. This strange male and female lead. This strange way of life. Is the heavenly way blind? Anyone can be a male or female lead. Shush 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 shush. Host, don't curse the heavenly Tao. We are only the first mission and don't have any points, so we don't have much ability. What if we are wiped out by the heavenly Tao? Misfortune comes from the mouth. Upon hearing Jiuli cursing the heavenly way, Xiao Bai immediately panicked. He is so scared that he was wiped out by the heavenly way on his first mission, and he has been praying in his heart that the heavenly way Lord will not remember the villains. However, the heavenly Tao did hear it and immediately lightning and thunder struck, leaving the sky without moonlight. But it became a dark and overwhelming peace. Xiao Bai was trembling with fear, and Jiuli looked up with a cold gaze at the sky. Tian Dao immediately felt the strong pressure and was startled, withdrawing his killing intent. Spread the message to Jiuli. Sorry, boss. I'm blind. Forgive me. Jiuli ignored the heavenly way, and the heavenly way saw a hand that had always been illusory in front of him. A slap directly reduced his cultivation by half. Tian Dao wants to cry without tears, but he dare not speak. Jiuli said. If I become blind again in the future, it won't be about this half cultivation. I understand. Despite the pain on Tiandao's injured body, he still squeezed out a flattering smile. Only he knows in his heart how much he regrets. Regret provoking this big shot so much, he will definitely not interfere in the future, male and female lead. Love whatever you want. With just this slap, the male and female leaders were unaware that the heavenly way would release them from then on. After tidying up the heavenly way, seeing the sky return to normal, Xiao Bai breathed a sigh of relief and said, It's okay, this heavenly master has a lot. Jiuli rolled his eyes when he saw Xiao Bai's so-called appearance, but did not explain. But to the novice. What is this plain task? Xiao Bai immediately handed over the task to Jiuli. Task 1. The female lead mother receives punishment. Task 2. Make Chen Cheng regret it. Task 3. Live your own brilliance. Jiuli frowned and said, It's gone. Seeing Jiuli frown, Xiao Bai thought Jiuli thought it was too difficult. This was his first time on a mission. Can't fail, quickly pacify Jiuli. Without a host, you don't have to worry. This is my first time doing tasks, and I have chosen simple ones. With my assistance, there's no problem. You can also use items on credit. I believe you. Oh. It's so simple, it's not fun. Jiuli said with an expression on his face. Xiao Bai was speechless in an instant. He thought Jiuli thought it was difficult, but he didn't expect it to be fun. Humph, it's true that a newborn calf is not afraid of tigers. He will definitely help Jiuli less in the future. Let her know that the task is not that simple. Xiao Bai, who had no idea of Jiuli's ability, was crazy about roast. Jiuli felt Xiao Bai's silence. I didn't pay attention to him. Anyway, he will know about it in the future. The time when Jiuli came over now was exactly when Jiuli had just finished calling Cheng and was preparing to jump into the river. If Jiuli comes a little late, Jiuli is probably dead. Jiuli is a big shot, even at night, he can see clearly, let alone some moonlight. The location of Jiuli is actually on a mountain. The mountains are overgrown with weeds, and with the moonlight, even in summer, the mountains are relatively cold. The moonlight and cold wind are a bit cool. Jiuli was wearing a white dress that looked washed yellow. There was no embellishment on the skirt, as I looked at it. At the age of only 18, the girl has a cocoon on her hands. There is still bruising on the arms. And the marks of twigs beating. Now is her second month in this village. The girl is very thin and weak. At the age of 18, he looks malnourished. It looks like she's 16 years old, and it's hard to imagine how bad she's been since the female lead returned to the Su family, but Cheng still can't tell. I always thought it was done by the stubborn Jiuli himself. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Mrs. Dominance 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Mrs. Dominance. For the girl is very thin, spreading her palm out. If it weren't for these calluses, her palm would have been very beautiful, but now she has calluses on her palm, which are black and have some scars. The bones on the fingers seemed very obvious, with a feeling that could be easily broken with a gentle flick. When I looked down, it was almost flat, and there was no meat on my stomach. I could still feel the obvious ribs. The original owner came to seek death today. Lu Xiao asked her to come and chop firewood. She wore the only clean dress and was beaten. Lu Xiao said she was going to seduce people. The original owner was very beautiful, even if he was thin and weak like this, he was also very beautiful. Therefore, Lu Xiao and her daughter Lu Dan were jealous of the original owner's appearance, and because of their beauty, they received more blows. The original owner just thought that even if he wanted to die, he should be more dignified. The original owner was originally a beautiful girl. It's not surprising to have such thoughts. On the contrary, it was because she was still wearing a dress today that when her body was salvaged, Cheng had no idea that she would suffer any injustice in the countryside. Jiuli felt a hint of sympathy for the original owner, who was originally a good blooming girl. That's how it turned out. Besides, she just had a little bit of a big lady's temper, never causing any harm, but became a stepping stone for the female lead, living such a miserable life. After the original owner's death, the female lead became the only Miss Chen from the Chen family. I'm doing very well. The original owner was just a little girl, a good girl who had been pampered for over a decade. A sudden change. She couldn't bear it and didn't have the courage to live anymore. He is truly a pitiful person. It's okay if you don't want it, but the more you think about it, the angrier it gets. Gao Diandao. Jiuli was thinking about the heavenly way and couldn't help but vent his anger. On the other side, the heavenly way, who was healing, suddenly received another slap. Now it's over, with more injuries, I completely fainted. After tidying up the heavenly way, Jiuli felt his stomach growling. A burst of hunger came, and because it was an ordinary person's body, Jiuli felt a very strong hunger. Think about it. The original owner only ate a mantou and a glass of water this morning. Jiuli stood up, feeling dizzy from the low blood sugar in his body. Damn it. Jiuli pouted and prepared to go down the mountain to find some food to eat. People are like iron, rice and steel, and if they don't eat a meal, they will get hungry. Besides, their bodies haven't eaten a few meals. As Jiuli walked, he thought to himself that he would have to tidy up the mother and daughter when he went back. Eat. Because I'm really hungry. In addition to his already poor health, after walking for a few minutes, Jiuli felt extremely tired and just flashed a flash. This village is quite remote, with only 7 or 8 households in one village. It's around 8 o'clock now. The people in the village didn't have much entertainment activities and stayed at home early. Moreover, each household is not close, so Jiuli's move did not scare anyone. Jiuli arrived at the doorstep of Lu's mother and daughter's house. It is a small one-story bungalow. There is a yard, and to the left of the yard is a chicken coop. Next to the chicken pen is a pigsty. Next to the pigsty is the firewood room, which is the original owner's room. The yard is filled with the smell of chicken droppings. Since the original owner is not here, no one will clean up these chicken droppings. Lu Xiao's husband died in an accident while working on a construction site 2 years ago, so this family only has Lu Xiao and Lu Dan. Through the windowsill, Jiuli saw the two mother and daughter watching TV. My legs are curled up on the coffee table, one is eating fruit and the other is eating snacks. Because Huang Ling gave them a lot of money, most of the homes at home were replaced with new ones, and the food was also good. Seeing the two mothers and daughters talking and laughing, Jiuli couldn't help but feel angry. Just a kick towards the door. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Miss Dominance 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Miss Dominance 5 Bang. The loud voice frightened the Lu mother and daughter to stand up. Host. Don't be impulsive. We can't beat them, let's take our wits. Seeing such a irritable Jiuli, Xiao Bai was so scared that he almost turned into a screaming machine. He thought to himself, it's over, it's about to end before it even starts. I knew he wouldn't be bound to this host. Xiao Bai's noisy Jiuli is annoyed. I said something coldly. Shut up. Little Bai immediately dared not speak. Just silently shedding tears in my heart. Lu's mother and daughter stood up vigilantly. Look outside the door. I saw Jiuli slowly walking in with his arms crossed. With a smile on his face, he said, Hi. Good evening. Seeing that the person coming was Lu's mother and daughter from Jiuli, she immediately breathed a sigh of relief and turned to be ferocious. Lu Dan looked at Jiuli. Speak harshly. Chen Jiuli, don't you want to live anymore, dare you kick the door? After speaking, Lu Dan wanted to step forward and slap Jiuli. However, before encountering Jiuli, he was kicked away by Jiuli. Lu Dan, who was kicked, went crazy in an instant. She felt a huge pain from being kicked in her stomach and covered it. Speak to Jiuli. Bitch. How dare you kick me? Lu Xiao looked at his fallen daughter and quickly stepped forward to support her. Turning to Jiuli, he said. Dare to hit my daughter. I'll kill you today. After speaking, he grabbed the fruit knife on the table and ran towards Jiuli. However, without any accident, he was kicked away again. It happened to fall on Lu Dan's body, and Lu Dan was injured again. I can't even say anything painful. Being kicked by Jiuli, the mother and daughter of Lu felt a hint of fear in their hearts. In the past, this Chen Rou couldn't fight back or scold back. How could she go crazy today? You. What do you want? Your mother sent you over to cultivate your character, why are you still beating people? Lu Xiao thought that moving out of Huangling Jiuli would make him afraid. Unexpectedly, Jiuli smiled and said. Oh, cultivate oneself and cultivate one's character. Jiuli smiled with a breathtaking beauty. But in the eyes of the Lu family. It's just very scary, the BT killer on TV loves to laugh. The two of them didn't understand what was going on. Even though Jiuli still had this body, extremely thin and weak, how could he have such great strength? Are you trying to fish to death with them? But the pain on their bodies made them unable to distinguish their thoughts and thoughts. I saw Jiuli slowly walking over, slowly bowing down and whispering to these two people. Then I'll also let you cultivate your character well, say it. Before the two of them could react, Jiuli's fist had already been punched, the two of them were screaming in pain while fighting, and after a few minutes, Jiuli was really hungry and weak. I looked at her masterpiece with satisfaction. The two of them were beaten up with bruises and swollen faces, like pig heads. Jiuli promised that even their biological mother couldn't recognize them. The two of them were a bit scared of being beaten now, but their resentment towards Jiuli deepened. They thought to themselves. Today, they didn't react. When they get better, they must look good in Jiuli. Anyway, this remote village. No one will notice even after death. The two of them stared maliciously at Jiuli. Jiuli saw their eyes. Raise your fist again, what's going on? I'm not convinced. It's burnt. Startled, the two immediately replied with unclear speech. Jiuli clapped his hands. Slowly sit on the sofa, cross-legged. Holding an unopened bag of potato chips in his hand, he said to the two of them. I'm hungry, go cook. What, you want us to cook? Lu Dan asked in disbelief. Jiuli squinted his eyes and said, Seeing Jiuli's gaze, Lu Dan shrank his head in fear. Lu Xiaoli immediately squeezed out a super invincible giant ugly smile and said, Let's do it. Let's do it. Jiuli nodded in satisfaction. Add more meat. Add an egg. Both Lu's mother and daughter were about to bite their teeth, but they dared not resist and could only curse Jiuli in their hearts. The two of them supported each other and limped towards the kitchen. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Mrs. Dominance 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Mrs. Dominance 6 The two of them walked into the kitchen and closed the door. Lu Dan immediately said, Mom. Are we really going to cook for that slut? We've all been beaten up like this by her. She was unwilling to let Lu Dan cook, despite being beaten. Lu Xiao said. That bitch didn't know what medicine she took today. We will kill her tomorrow. Anyway, his mother said that we were not responsible for her death. If there are things raised by fathers but not by mothers, dare to provoke us. Lu Dan immediately thought of how to torture Jiuli when he heard Lu Xiao's words. The two of them discussed for a while in the kitchen. Jiuli listened clearly outside and said coldly, I can hear you all. Upon hearing Jiuli's words, the mother and daughter immediately trembled with fear. You heard me wrong, we didn't say anything, Lu Xiao quickly replied, and then quickly went to cook for Jiuli. In no time, a steaming bowl of beef noodles with fried eggs was served. Chen. Miss Chen, please have some, Lu Xiao said to Jiuli trembling on the side. Jiuli's fingers twitched as he smelled the taste of noodles. It has to be said. Although Lu Xiaoxin has a bad heart. But cooking is quite delicious. Moreover, the ingredients in rural areas seem to be more fragrant. Finish the noodles in 3 or 2 bites. I touched my stomach. Very satisfied. This is the best and most satisfying meal that Chen Ro has had when she came to the countryside. Lu's mother and daughter had already sneaked back to their room while eating noodles in Jiuli, discussing how to deal with Jiuli tomorrow. Mom, what should we do tomorrow? Lu Dan asked softly. The hatred in my eyes is about to turn into substance. Tomorrow we'll trick her into going to the mountains. The river in the mountains is running fast, and if she falls, she won't be able to survive, Lu Xiao said fiercely. Little did they know that their plan was clearly heard by Jiuli, and they didn't expect that the place where the mother and daughter were looking was the place where the original owner committed suicide. Is this the plot of all evil? But since Jiuli has arrived, how can he still develop according to the plot? She needs to take a look, the plot is powerful. She is still impressive. These mother and daughter are really unrepentant, Jiuli said calmly to Xiao Bai. Xiao Bai is very silent. Just now he kept advising Jiuli not to be impulsive. I am also mentally prepared for task failure. I didn't expect Jiuli to be so fierce. Xiao Bai has been feeling depressed for a while. Why is his host different from other Tongzi families? I don't know if Xiao Bai's idea of enslaving Jiuli to work for him can still be realized. But on second thought, since the host is so powerful, completing tasks not only makes it easier, but he can also hug his thighs. It has to be said that Xiao Bai's mindset has changed really quickly. Is this the advantage of machines? Host, how do you plan to deal with them? Killing is illegal in this world, host. Don't be impulsive. Xiao Bai has gone from advising Jiuli not to provoke them just now to let Jiuli not impulsively kill them. Hear the words of Xiao Bai. Jiuli is a bit unhappy. This world is indeed troublesome. Although he can erase the traces. But it's always troublesome without two big living people. It seems that we can only deal with them in other ways. Jiuli thought for a few minutes. Suddenly showing a smile, he said, "There's a way, host, what's the solution?" Little Bai asked with a bewildered expression on his face. He was curious about what Jiuli could come up with in just a few minutes. However, Jiuli did not tell Xiao Bai, but instead said, "I'll know then." Xiao Bai looked at Jiuli's smile. I couldn't help but shiver. The host is clearly laughing. How do you feel? It's so terrifying, it's still a bit cold. No, he's a machine, how can he feel cold? Anyway, Xiao Bai already knows. Jiuli's smile. Absolutely abnormal. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Mrs. Dominance 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Mrs. Dominance 7. At this moment, Xiao Bai felt as if he had been caught by a cat and was very curious about how Jiuli would deal with this mother and daughter. A glimmer of hope unexpectedly arose in my heart. I hope Jiuli can go and clean them up quickly. Perhaps due to just having a full meal and not resting properly, Jiuli felt a sense of drowsiness. But now that Jiuli has arrived, it is impossible to go to the firewood room. So he walked to Lu Dan's room according to his memory, and Jiuli kicked the door open again. Anyway, this is not her home, and Jiuli can be said to be kicking without any pressure. The mother and daughter in Lu Zhao's room heard this commotion. The two exchanged a glance and thought to themselves. What did Jiuli kick again? The two of them opened a crack in the door and secretly watched, only to see Jiuli across from them. Opposite is Lu Dan's room. Lu Dan took a look. Immediately, I couldn't help but open the door and come out. Pointing at Jiuli, he said, "Mud is sweet and divine." Jiuli turned his head and looked at him with unclear speech. Lu Dan, who looks like a pig's head. Just flick your finger directly at her. Ah! Suddenly let out a scream of agony, Jiuli wiped his hands on his body, showing a look of disgust. Didn't your mother teach you that pointing out people is very impolite? At this moment, Lu Dan was already in pain and unable to speak. Only Lu Xiao quickly ran over and apologized to Jiuli. I'm sorry. Dan didn't mean to. Get lost. Jiuli looked at the mother and daughter calmly. Anyway, they will feel better soon. Let's not deal with them for now. Lu Xiao quickly pulled Lu Dan back to his room. Don't worry about what Jiuli needs to do anymore. Jiuli looked at Lu Dan's room. It seemed that the mother and daughter were living happily with Huang Ling's money, looking at the big Shimengxi. And betting that doesn't look cheap. Jiuli sighed. TSK. How nice these days are. Jiuli naturally despised the quilt that Lu Dan had used. I took out a new duvet cover from the wardrobe and put it on. Jiuli feels so comfortable lying in bed. This bed is soft and fluffy. Jiuli's body has not slept in such a comfortable bed for a long time. In no time, Jiuli fell asleep. At 3 o'clock in the morning. The Lu mother and daughter over there began to dream in the dream. It was the scene of the day when the original owner died, and they saw the original owner jump into the river. Then, it turned to the scene of them at home. Suddenly, the door slammed open and Jiuli kicked them open, and they came in and beat them up again. It is truly all the scenes from tonight. But what's different is that Jiuli in the dream is pale all over. There is no trace of blood. Then, the scene turned to them returning to their room to discuss how to kill Jiuli. Then the mother and daughter fell asleep. Then Jiuli woke up. A flash flashed into the room of the mother and daughter, and then slapped each of them one by one. The mother and daughter were suddenly awakened, and as soon as they opened their eyes, their pupils instantly widened and they looked at Jiuli by the bed. The mother and daughter suddenly lost their drowsiness and sat back in fear. I didn't care about the burning pain on my face. Lu Xiao trembled and pointed at Jiuli. You are a human or a ghost? Lu Dan was so scared that he hid behind Lu Xiao, trembling. That's why Lu Xiaoji asked. It's because of the appearance of Jiuli at this time. Her hair was messy, her whole body was pale, and she still emitted waves of coldness. And most importantly, Jiuli's whole body was wet, and her hair was even dripping. My hair covered most of my face, and I could only vaguely see that my lips were pale, but most importantly, her eyes are blood red. There seems to be blood left at the corners of the eyes. His eyes were filled with hatred. You say, I am a human or a ghost, the hollow voice sounded, as if a magical sound was piercing through my ears. Surprisingly, there is still an echo in this small room. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Mrs. Dominance 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Mrs. Dominance 8. The mother and daughter of Lu firmly believed in their hearts that Jiuli must be a ghost at this moment, and even came to seek revenge against her. The mother and daughter were so scared that they kept crying, and their pig-headed faces looked very funny. Jiuli has been holding back a smile in his heart. Lu Xiao was so scared that he quickly knelt down and said to Jiuli, I'm sorry. It's not our fault you died, yes. It's your mother. It was your mother who made me kill you. There's a head of injustice and a master. If you want revenge, go find your mother. Jiuli looked at Lu Dan. Give me your phone. Lu Dan Dun, who was trying to lower his sense of presence behind him, was taken aback. Then he quickly took out his phone under his pillow and gave it to Jiuli. When he handed it to Jiuli, his hands were still trembling. They don't know why Jiuli needs a mobile phone. Why do ghosts still need phones? But even though they have doubts, they dare not ask. Jiuli is a ghost, and the two of them are ordinary people who cannot compete, afraid that Jiuli will kill them all at once. Jiuli took the phone. Turn on the recording. Ask Lu Xiao. Tell me about the process of Huang Ling trying to kill me. Lu Xiaoli answered while crying. Yes, it was Huang Ling who gave me 500,000 yuan to torture you. It would be best if I could kill you, and after killing you, she would give me another 2 million yuan. She also said, even if you die, you won't find us. We also use money to do things, auntie. Please don't kill us, we don't want to do this to you. Jiuli sneered inwardly, although it was Huang Ling who tormented her. But these mother and daughter are not good things originally, even if Huang Ling doesn't say it, they will still torture the original owner. At this point, I start to shift my responsibilities. Oh, but I heard from you just now. But I've figured out how to kill me. The mother and daughter were so frightened that their faces turned pale and trembling. Lu Dan quickly said. It's not my business, it's not my business. Yes, my mom said she wanted to kill you. I don't know anything. Lu Xiao didn't expect that her precious daughter would betray her, and her face was immediately shocked, turning to curse at Lu Dan. What do you mean? You usually bully Miss Chen a lot. Last time, you made Miss Chen eat shit, but she didn't eat and you even beat her up. Upon hearing this, Lu Dan retorted. Can you let Miss Chen sleep in the firewood room? You also put snakes and mice inside, deliberately picking trouble and hitting her. The two of them spoke each other's words here, telling each other what they had done to the original owner. As Jiuli listened, he became increasingly angry and showed a murderous intent, wishing to kill these two mother and daughter immediately. But reason tells Jiuli that some people are more painful to live than to die. Feeling a strong killing intent, the mother and daughter suddenly regained their senses. Realizing what they had just said, Lu Dan trembled with fear, and even more so, he became uncontrollable. A foul odor is coming. Jiuli suddenly felt nauseous. You're so cowardly. Surprisingly, I even scared myself to pee. Jiuli really knows nothing about his current level of terror. It's already pretty good just to pee in fear. Jiuli couldn't stay in this room for a moment anymore. Anyway, he had already obtained what he needed, so he waved his hand. The mother and daughter collapsed. Jiuli quickly changed back to her original appearance and went back to her room to sleep. Jiuli was playing with the phone in his hand. This recording. But it's a gift for Huang Ling. At this moment, Jiuli suddenly realized that it seemed particularly quiet and strange, that the system was not chattering. Jiuli said to Xiao Bai. Tongzi. Xiao Bai trembled and answered. Stay. Host. What's wrong? Xiao Bai just witnessed Jiuli transform and pass through the wall with his own eyes. Shocked him to the point. Then there is fear and regret. End of this chapter.